So the car market is a very confusing place right now. You don't know whether you should buy a car, whether you should wait, where you should buy from, what kind of car you should buy. But today, I'm going to give you a lot of those answers. My name's Brandon. I'm a used car dealer, and this is my car lot. So right now in this car market, whether or not I would advise you to buy or wait really depends on two things. One is your budget, and two is the time frame that you actually have to purchase a car. And the reason why I want to break it down into those two different categories is because there's a few things that are happening in the market right now that can dictate whether or not you're going to get a good price for the actual price range that you're looking for. And two, because we have seasonality that happens in the car market, and this seasonality really affects more the used car side than it does the new car side, and I'll explain that to you here in just a little bit. So first we'll talk about new cars, and really when you're looking at new cars, you're going to have a budget that's right now in this market, it has to be $25,000 and up, because really that's the range that new cars are starting out. Even if you're looking at a Toyota Camry, a Toyota Corolla, a Honda Civic, really the cheapest deal that you're going to get on one of these new four-door sedans is going to be between like $23,000 all the way up to $28,000, and that's going to be your most economical purchase right now if you're looking at a new vehicle. So what I would say for that new car shopper out right now is, if you can wait, we need to wait, because right now what we're seeing is this peak that's already happened in the new car market, and we're starting to see new car dealerships get stocked up with inventory, more inventory than they can even hold. It's so bad right now that that dealerships are actually turning down allocations. Now, what allocations are basically just orders that are coming from these manufacturers that are getting shipped to these dealerships. And when dealerships get to a place where they know they're not selling vehicles, and they know that that they're running out of room and they can't take any more orders in, that's when they start turning down these allocations. And when do they do that? They actually start getting pinched, and these new car dealers, they have to start selling some vehicles, and that's when you see percentages come off these MSRPs. That's when you start seeing cars being sold for invoice. Now, invoice is what the vehicle is actually obtained by the dealer for the price point that the dealer actually pays for the car. And we're starting to see that come through the system now, because these dealerships, they're holding on to inventory for too long, and they've got to flip some of this inventory. And because we're just now starting to see this, and we're starting to see dealers come off of MSRP, and even dealers selling these new vehicles at invoice, this is just the beginning. The economy, the car market is not getting any better than it is right now. Car sales are not going to go up from here. So that's why I'm telling you, if you're a new car buyer, you should wait and wait as long as possible, because we're going to start seeing more and more incentives come from manufacturers, more and more special interest rates come from these manufacturers, and more discounts coming from these dealers that have to sell their vehicles. So if you're a new car customer, wait. So now on to the used car side of things. I'm a used car dealer. I know the used car market. And right now we are in a very weird season for the used cars. We're just at the beginning of the year, and what's about to happen in the used car market is tax time. And tax time affects used car dealers so much, and it affects used car prices so much. But actually, I need to step back for a second, because if you're a used car buyer, we need to really group you into two different segments, and then we're going to break it down by budget and by time frame. So when I'm looking at budget for used cars and how this seasonality actually affects used cars, it's in terms of really how much are you going to spend. And if you're looking at a car that's $15,000 or above, tax time's really not going to affect you. So this seasonality that's happening in the used car market, it really doesn't affect those cars that are $15,000 and under, but it does greatly affect the cars that are $15,000 and under. So now that we've separated those two different price points, let's talk first about the used car consumer that wants to spend over $15,000 on a vehicle. Really, what I would say is you're going to fall in the same bucket for me as these new car customers, because tax time is really not going to affect this segment of the market. And what you have to do right now is really wait out these dealers. And what's happening on that end of the market is that these used car dealers, just like the new car dealers, they're also stacking up on inventory. But it's going to hit these used car dealers a lot harder, because what used car dealers have is floor plans. They basically have credit cards that they swipe to get their inventory. A lot of people don't know this, is that used car dealers, most of them don't actually own their own inventory outright. They don't pay cash for their cars. They finance it. And while new car dealers do that as well, they're typically not as money pinched by their floor plans as used car dealers, because used car dealers are, a lot of times, just like me. They have small lots just like I do, and this cash, this money that they use for inventory, means a whole lot more to them than it does for the new car dealers. So as these used car dealers get stacked up with this inventory on their lots, a lot of times they get tapped out of their available credit, or two, they'll have lot constraints. Me here, I've got about 100 cars right now, and we're almost tapped out as far as what we can buy. Now, I've got a storage lot too that we can use, so we're going to be able to continue to load up for tax time, but most used car dealers don't have that luxury. So they'll have those two things, and whenever they run up against their credit, when they run up against their lot constraints, then they basically have to stop buying cars. And I can tell you, as a used car dealer myself, if I've been in a situation where I can't go to the auction and I can't buy new inventory to come in to try to sell, I'm trying my best. I'm doing whatever I can. I'm lowering prices to try to get out of the inventory that I currently have.
All right, we're getting tons and tons and tons of views every week, but you're not hitting the subscribe button. Let me know what I need to do to get you to hit that subscribe button. Please do it. Please do it, and like this video. Thank you.
So on top of those two issues for these used car dealers, what also happens is that because they have this this credit card that they're using to actually buy their vehicles, they have interest that they have to pay, and they have to pay it monthly. And keep in mind, when they're not rolling out cars, they're not having a lot of cash that's actually coming in, a lot of profit that's coming in. And sometimes they get into a situation where they can't cover their actual floor plan payments. They can't cover the interest that they owe to these floor plan companies. And when that happens, then these floor plan companies, they charge fees on top of what they're already charging, or they can actually repossess this inventory from these used car dealers, take it to the auction, and dump it for whatever it brings, and then that dealer is on the hook for the difference. And this is a major issue for dealers, because if they have to come up with the difference on a lot of these vehicles that these floor plan companies have to repossess from them, it's money that they really didn't have to begin with. So they're now put in a pickle, and they can lose their floor plans. They can get their floor plans greatly decreased. And if it gets to a point where they can't buy any more inventory because they don't have cash or they don't have credit availability, then they can't buy cars. If they can't buy cars, they can't sell cars. If they can't sell cars, they can't make any money. If you can't make any money, why are you even in business? So that's a big problem. So when they get to this point, these used car dealers, when they're pinched like this, they have to sell cars. And they're at a point, these dealers that have this inventory that's $15,000 and over, if they're loading up on inventory, they're getting to a place right now where it's very, very difficult to sell cars. Lending is tighter. There's just not the available cash out there for customers to be able to buy a lot of these vehicles. It is a very hard space to be in right now, selling $15,000 and over used vehicles. So that's why I'm telling you, wait out these dealers, because prices are coming down from here for that range of vehicle, and we're really just seeing the beginning signs of it now. So if you're in that place where you are looking for a car in that range, wait as long as you can. Prices are coming down. So on this second channel, we're actually going to try to be shooting more at my lot and show you guys some more behind the scenes stuff, but it becomes difficult because we're busy. We got like 4 or 5 customers out on the lot, and that slows down filming. No problem. I want them to come and buy cars, no problem, but it does make it a little bit difficult to actually shoot these videos without them behind me, and airplanes all the time. So now let's talk about the person who wants to buy a used vehicle for under $15,000. And now I'm going to break you up into time horizons. So if you're thinking about buying a used vehicle and you have to buy one within the next 3 months, then I want you to go ahead and buy a used vehicle right now. The reason being is because as tax time hits us and as tax checks come in, what people do is they actually go and they buy used vehicles. So especially under that price range of $15,000, what happens is a lot of these dealers, they'll sell lots and lots of vehicles, and then they'll rush to the auction and prices will be dramatically higher around that mid-February to mid-March time frame, and even a little bit after that, because dealers will have to charge more because they're paying more at auction for these vehicles. And because of that, that is the absolute worst time to buy a used vehicle that is under $15,000. So what that's going to lead me to say is that if you don't have to buy a used vehicle for under $15,000 in the next 3 months, then you need to wait. And the reason I'm saying that is because we're getting back to seasonality in the car market, especially for this range of vehicle. And when I talk about seasonality, so what happens after tax time each year is we literally have a crash. And it's a real crash in used car prices after tax time, because what happens is these dealers that sell all these vehicles, they rush to the auction, they pay way too much, and just as quick as the tax money gets here, poof, it goes away just like that. People who get their tax money, they don't save it, they don't wait for a good deal, they spend it as soon as they get it. It happens every single year, and it's going to happen this year again. And that's what I'm doing here. You see a lot more cars on my car lot if you've been watching any of my videos than what I typically have. And right now, about 2 months ago, we had about 60 cars. I have about 100 right now, and by the time tax time rolls around, I'm going to have 150. My car lot can only hold about 90 cars comfortably, but I'm going to have 150. We're going to have them in storage. We're going to have them everywhere that we can put them, because we know that we sell out every tax time. It happens every single year, and other dealers, they don't prepare for this like we do. So they rush to the auction, they pay too much for these cars, money goes away, and then they can't buy any more cars because they stop selling them. So when dealers can't buy cars at auction, the cars that are actually coming through the auction lanes, they don't go for hardly any money. So we wait until that time, and then we go back and we scoop up cars. So there's a mini crash in the car market every single year, about April, May, somewhere around there, when all these dealers, they get overexposed again, and then they can't sell. So that's what I would tell you to wait for. Even towards the end of summer, you'll see a lot better pricing, but really just because of the environment that we're in right now, the longer that you can wait for a used vehicle, a new vehicle, anything that you're looking at, the longer that you can wait, the better it's going to get, because car prices are doing nothing but going down from here, unless you're looking within the next 6 months or so for cars that are $15,000 and under. Those are the only ones that are going to be affected by seasonality and tax time that is coming up. So there you go. And real quick, I know you're seeing all these cheap cars behind me, but I am not going to give out my my dealership location on YouTube. That's not why I'm here. I am here to help you navigate the car market. And I feel like if I'm just some used car dealer that's peddling my wares on YouTube and advertising my dealership, then that message is not going to come across the right way. And I really want you to be able to take the information that I've given you as honest and transparent. And if you feel like I'm just trying to sell you a used car on YouTube, you're not going to take it. So no, I'm not going to give up my dealership. And if you've gotten any value at all from this video, please like this video and subscribe. A lot of you might not know it, but this is actually a second channel. We're going to be doing a lot of these kind of videos. So please hit that subscribe button. It would really help us out.